I'm bad, Ash. And you're good, Ash. You're goody little two-shoes. You're goody little two-shoes, goody little two-shoes. Little goody two-shoes, 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 little goody two-shoes. Oh! Little goody two-shoes.
I ain't that good.
You're listening to League Podcast, the League versus Army of Darkness. Or is it League versus Ash versus Army of Darkness? Or what? Wait.
Or
It's just
all
called...
of the above.
Wasn't it? Doesn't it sort of say that in the...
It says Bruce
whatever.
Campbell.
Bruce
versus
Campbell versus... That's
Yeah.
right. Bruce Campbell. The show was... We were just talking about the show. Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness. Also, was once going to be called Medieval Dead. Anyway, I'm Matt Durson.
And I'm John Hunt.
And I've got a bone to pick with you, Clay Inferno here, coming in last. Clay Inferno here. I was
hoping... Oh, I love you. I was hoping someone was going to say, I'm John Hunt and I'm a slave, but I guess...
I should have just picked... I didn't think of anything ahead of time. I got some mail the other day that had my name all wrong, and I was going to say that instead, but it just wouldn't have made any sense. And
yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Anyway, we're going to talk about Army of Darkness. And because we're all like 90s guys, this movie was big for us, right?
For us,
I mean,
but for us three.
Just
for
the three
us
of us.
three in our fan group, I think was probably, I think of us all hanging out. Like, this is the movie that I think
This
of.
was the movie that inspired
brings us all together.
Yeah, that inspired us to make our own movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I probably didn't see Evil Dead 2 until after I'd seen this movie a few times.
Yeah,
I should finally catch up.
I saw them in the wrong order. I saw Army of Darkness first, Evil Dead second, and then Evil Dead. But they do a nice summary at the beginning. So.
Right, and all right, yeah, we'll just start off. Right, the continuity is completely. Who cares? But it's out the window. If you remember, go back and listen to our Evil Dead 2 episode. It ends when Ash goes through the sort of portal. He ends up in medieval England. A deadite flies out of the sky and he shoots it, and they all start to worship him. And he's like, no, and they're going, hail, hail, because he's like the prophesized one, whatever,
chosen
the
one.
savior, the chosen one. And then he's like, because he's in medieval times. So this one starts off completely different. They take him prisoner.
I always, maybe I said this in the Evil Dead 2 thing, but I like the fact that the continuity, it's there but not. He's still in medieval times, but they don't like him.
Yeah.
It's the multiverse of madness, and I literally connected the dots, even though I knew at the time like Sam Raimi made Spider-Man, but I really don't think of him as the same guy that made Army of Darkness, even though. And then I was surprised when they get Sam Raimi to make the Doctor Strange movie. That's so crazy. He made fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah. He made
connecting all those dots is in my mind, it's a multiverse of spaghetti in there.
Yeah, I mean, this is like Sam Raimi. I mean, I'm very happy for all his success after this, but he had made Dark.
Wish him all the best.
Good to hear you, or whatever we were
Thanks
saying.
for talking.
Thanks for talking. But I mean, I remember going to see that baseball movie with Kevin Costner just because it's Sam Raimi. I
was like, hurry up and get this baseball movie done so you could start on Spider-Man. But I thought that movie Simple Plan that he did was excellent. It was depressing as hell. I'm never going to watch it again, but it was really, really good.
Right. It was. Yeah. And Billy Bob Thornton, Bridget Fonda, and was it Bill Paxton?
Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton.
Oh, man.
Big loves Bill Paxton. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Bill Paxton.
Wait, he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Oh yeah, he's really good in that.
Oh, that's a
Which
shame.
Kevin Feige,
Game over,
I don't
man.
want to. I'm not trying to make this a comic book podcast. God forbid. But Kevin Feige came out and said, "Yeah, that's not canon. It's part of the multiverse." Fuck you.
Right. Of madness.
But anyway, the Army of Darkness.
Well, okay. So before we get started on the what happens in the movie, there was a lot of behind the scenes things with the rights and whatever, and
And our buddy
D'Lo.
Well, this was I mentioned to you guys we did a whole and I missed one, but we watched all of Hannibal, Red Dragon, Manhunter, every single possible like that universe thing, and I had no idea that the that Silence of the Lambs and all that was actually related to Army of Darkness in a way because of Nandor De Laurentiis there, because he owned the rights there. So it's a complication.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there was fighting over a Silence of the Lambs sequel, and it's all. I don't even really understand it, but Universal and ended up with D'Lo, as John called D'Lo De Laurentiis. You know,
he had the rights, but yeah. But Sam Raimi like retained the rights to the IP itself,
right?
And the Deadites and Ash and everything.
I knew there were issues a long time ago because this movie was supposed to be released, I think, in like 1991 or 92, and sat on the shelf because of all this stuff.
No, didn't it come out in 92?
Came out in 93.
Bruce Campbell was pissed that the studio pushed it.
I used to watch this show on Saturdays on the Sci-Fi Channel called Sci-Fi Buzz, and they did a lot of stuff on Army of Darkness at the time, and that was what got me interested in watching it in the first place.
Wow.
Very
How
well.
about that? Yeah, I guess we should. I mean, like, we weren't like horror fans, or at least I wasn't like one of those horror fans who was like, oh yeah, Evil Dead 2, like in that sort of cult thing. I only knew it from this movie. So.
Yeah, and it's
late to the
perfectly
party.
matched to our brand of comedy and our huge influence, you know?
Yes.
I want to say too, so like I watched a little of like Red Letter Media's thing. We were talking about that off air, and they kind of, you know, they appreciate some of the filmmaking, but they also kind of rag on it a little bit. And it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, even though I know they're not wrong, you know?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
but I'm also like, no, it's like making fun of like someone in my family. I'm like, no, you can't do that. That's not right.
Yeah, it's like when someone else yells at your dog. You're like, oh, only I can yell at this dog.
That's my dog. This is my movie. Even though you're right.
This is definitely our movie.
Yeah, it is. And
my whole 21st birthday was based around Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi movies.
Apparently.
Yeah.
We know that because someone kept the flyer.
No, they didn't keep that one. That was for my 24th birthday.
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
We did the Sam and Bruce Fest, and
Right.
we just had just running constantly throughout the entire day and night the movies. Well, everybody was doing shit around the whole house, you know, so it wasn't. But it was fun. It was great. Yeah.
If you want to sit and watch a movie, are you sure we didn't do any like Earthworm Jim or anything?
Oh, I'm sure that stuff happened. I know we were all jamming and stuff too.
Right.
And we got pizzas delivered and things. It was a good night. I'd like to
We
go
used to
back
have
and be
fun.
21 again. Yeah.
We're jamming. Anyway, yeah. But we watched this movie a lot. Ordering pizza and watching Army of Darkness, I think, was like a regular occurrence.
It's the first it's the first movie that I sat Mrs. Elder down to watch. So,
oh, wow.
I mean, that
That's
was like
nice.
the first movie we saw was The Mask, but I mean the first movie outside of an actual movie theater. I was like, we gotta here. This is my favorite movie. This is who I am.
This
guess
one you
that's a
gave her
good-
the this is who I am. I
But it
love
was-
you. This is who I am. And plus, we're giving you the full Clockwork Orange treatment. You have to watch this.
yeah. I strapped her into the chair, made her eyelids just wide open, and you know. But last night, because she was out coming back from work and then said, "Do you want me to pick something up for dinner?" I was like, "Yeah, no, I'll get this." And so I started watching Army of Darkness, in preparation for tonight. And she came in and started quoting it immediately without even being in the room yet. And she knows all the lines. So
wow, and here
so
you
it worked
are.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, married still, 21 years married. It's fun.
Yes, marriage.
It brings people together. I think we should
really
also we probably talked about this obviously many
Are
times.
you going to
in
mention
the
Randy?
pod. No, we can talk about Randy. Yeah, he was definitely also a big fan.
I feel like Randy got me into it, or I don't know. I feel like Randy was part of this too.
Yeah, definitely was. He was a fan. Did Motive Living have a group? Did you have a Groovy in there, or what? Did you have a quote, like a soundbite?
Yeah, you guys did.
Maybe
we did too in
I
our
don't
band.
remember.
I think you did. I'm pretty sure it was a Randy thing.
I do recall. I think we talked about this maybe on another movie episode, but when I said I don't really remember going to the movies with you guys, except for the wolf.
Wolf.
But I remember, and I don't know if you were there, John, maybe, but I think I went with your sister and Randy and Dan and Brom maybe to see this at the theater.
It played at the Cameo.
North Dakota.
Yeah,
Your neck of the wood, North Dakota, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
But I distinctly remember seeing this in the movie theater and thought it was so awesome.
I saw it with my sister and my ex weird dummy, who also appreciated the movie. So and we've resolved our differences. We're still friends, and occasionally when we see each other, we get together for lunch. She has made several Bruce Campbell / Army of Darkness references to me, and I'm like, "You remember that? Wow,
that's great."
Yeah,
we usually watch like a TV show that's on now, like a serialized one. And last night I said, do you mind watching maybe Army of Darkness with me? And she was like, I will watch that anytime you ask me because it's my favorite movie. So I found a special one too.
There you go.
Nice. I want to point out real quick too. We're going to be talking about the theatrical version. There are many versions of this movie, pretty much, right? I mean, I feel like when we were younger, we used to go to these conventions around North Dakota. There would be people selling bootleg videos, VHS tape, right? And they would always be like, we would try to find someone who had a version of Army of Darkness. With deleted scenes, and the original ending was always like a big, we gotta find the original ending.
Big deal.
And those guys would, I think we did buy a couple versions, and then that guy went, got busted by the FBI.
I don't know if maybe I only saw, and we'll get there. I don't want to talk about it now, but I think I only saw the other ending like today. I don't remember ever seeing it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
They finally released it on, on DVD years later and whatever. But it was a big
extras
deal.
on my digital whatever. I was pissed.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. There are different versions. It's so weird. But it's some movies, and hey, they want to make some money, so
that's what it's all about.
Good on them.
Didn't make any money at the time. Might as well just keep milking us jerks,
right?
Yeah, I know. Thanks for talking.
All right.
Put him in the thing.
And it starts off Bruce Campbell. Ash is in a what do they call those things that like those trestle things, those trusses, whatever that thing is, where his hand, even though his hand is cut off.
Well, his hand might be swollen because it, just
all right.
through all that.
Whatever.
That's my no prize.
Well, yeah, like
you get a no prize.
Evil Dead 2 happened the day he literally like the day before this movie, like it's then.
Right. Yeah. I know it had been years, but in Bruce Campbell, in Ash's time, it's only been like a day. So yeah, he hasn't cut. It's a fresh wound, I guess. But anyway, it's 1300 AD, he says, and he's being dragged to his death. And we get a little recap of Evil Dead 2. Some of the footage is even shown, like spliced in, which is cool, but also like it looks way different. Like so,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that the Red Letter guys said that they reshot like him chopping
cutting
off his
hand
hand and
off,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
They were
But
trying
like,
to make
reshot
it
some of it.
less bloody because they wanted to get a PG-13 so they could do better business.
it should be PG-13, right? But
It
it's
should.
R. It's rated R.
Yeah, it's the giant geyser of blood they said that just did the.
Yeah, I saw that. But I mean, it looks so fake. How could you
Yeah.
even?
Whatever.
Whatever. So
Chop, chop.
yeah, the movie should be. Anyway, so yeah, we get the flashback. Here we see Bridget Fonda in her cameo, which apparently they were going to show some more Linda, but this is it.
Yeah, that's it. Forget
I don't know. I mean, it
works the checkout line.
Yep.
And
his beautiful
gets out of the
girlfriend,
car,
Linda.
and then the window.
We
bust.
see the yeah, and then it came for me, as he says. But yeah, so whatever. He gets sucked into the portal, and the shot of the car falling down and everything I think it's really cool. The smoke coming off it. There's no sound. Like if you just watch this movie, you're like,
I think is that the same shot that they used?
I don't know. I think it is. When he actually lands, it's the same shot because he lands on that weird flat like
it looks like a
sidewalk
bridge or something.
yeah, like
whatever.
the
I
studio
think it's
floor.
yeah, it's cool though. I mean, I like the fact that there's no sound until it hits the ground. There's something like you don't see that in movies a lot, I guess, or there's always something.
This is a very innovative movie as far as all the different techniques. And if I could pop up video at the bottom here, just give you a little knowledge drop about the car.
Yeah,
Sam Raimi has used his Oldsmobile in 13 of his movies. And so all the way through till Doctor Strange and even the new Evil Dead from 2013, which Stacy and I went to the movies to see. We actually drove up to fucking Groton to see it, Groton, North Dakota. But that's just a pop-up video.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I knew it was in most of his movies, but
even A Simple Plan.
13. Yeah,
Even The Quick and the Dead.
How is it in Quick and the Dead?
I don't know, but I thought it was in there somehow. I could be.
I feel like I heard that. Yeah, like that was true, but I don't know. I haven't watched that movie in a while. But yeah, right though. Very innovative. This opening scene, I think, is actually very cool. Like I love it. I think it's great. So they're like kind of beating him up. They think he's one of Henry's men, even though Mr. Pitt. Abercrombie. My Seinfeld reference for the night. The wise man says he might be the one prophesized to, help us with the Deadites. And they're like, nah, he's an idiot. But I like it. Ash is kind of tougher now. He's not quite as, he's like, get off me. He's not as kind of like lame as not lame, but he was just a kind of a goofball he has his goofball moments, but I think he's a little more mean. He's seen some shit.
I think he's arrogant is what.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's the way to describe it. So anyway, they bring him back to the castle in the thing, whatever, with the hand, the truss. But I like when Henry's like, "You are not one of my vassals," and he's like, "Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants." That's something I quote a lot, I think. But yeah, there's some great shots here. So they have this pit, and they're gonna throw all of Henry's men in it. They throw one guy in, as we point out. There's like this geyser of blood that is like sort of pinkish almost, or it looks like Kool-Aid. It doesn't look like
pinkish hue.
Yes, a rosy glow. Yes. But my dad saw that. I remember watching this with him one time. He didn't make it through the whole movie, but he's like, "Blah."
This movie should be X or NC.
Hey, what are you doing? Slap the R on this one. But when the other guy tries to run, right, and Arthur shoots him with the crossbow, they do kind of a typical Sam Raimi kind of like shot with the arrow going at him, and
yeah, it's very Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I know. This is Sam Raimi at his Sam Raimiest.
Yeah, and then then it follows him all the way back through the crowd right up to Bruce Campbell, and then the sword gets pointed at him, and I was like, "That's a great shot."
It is like the tracking shot of everyone turning, like sort of in unison, to look at Ash standing on the edge, and then he realizes, "Oh shit, I'm next!" It's like they're gonna throw me into this pit.
One of the things that got cut out of the theatrical version was that everyone kept thinking he was a coward. And I feel like this was sort of the beginning of it. He's like, I never saw these guys before, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never even saw these assholes before. I should have mentioned earlier, we met Sheila, Embeth Davis. Sheila! So she asked Arthur, like, oh, is my brother here? And he said, oh, he fell in battle to Henry's men. And so she's pissed. So she thinks Ash is one of those guys. And she picks up a rock, throws it at him, and he starts to stumble towards the edge of the pit. And then I just love these hands. They're probably Sam Raimi. I don't know. But like, because I feel like Sam Raimi loves to beat Bruce Campbell up on all his movies. And he just pushes him into the pit. And there's a deadite. There's a deadite down there, and yeah, he has to fight him. He's fighting it off. He's trying to get out of there, and then Spinach Chin comes back into the pit.
What did my Mrs. Elder? I wish I could remember what she was like. Did you just call him Spanish man or something? I can't remember what she said, but it was something like that.
Later on, he calls him Spinach Chin, but anyway, yeah, he throws in the chainsaw. Of course, it's like so goofy. It goes right on, but I remember me and my sister just giggling hysterically at that part. We were like, okay, this is the movie we're getting. This is great. Yep. I think that's good, right? It establishes right off the bat. Like, don't take this movie too seriously. The guy throws a chainsaw down. It lands right on his hand that he's cut off. If you had to see the last movie, but yeah, I mean, whatever. And then he fights his way out. He's
carrying the chainsaw like a baby because he doesn't know what it is. It's like wrapped in a towel. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, it's
yeah, strange one. So he climbs out after he kills the deadite.
Using a cool technique with his belt. He whips off his belt and throws it on the chain that's already going up.
It seems a little unnecessary as he is actually holding on to the chain and
he could just hold on to the chain.
That's all right.
Well, it's kind of hard when you only have one hand, I guess. But yeah, who cares? You're right. It's great. It's innovative. It's fun. He comes out. He gives Arthur your shoelaces untied line and punches him in the face. And then
every time you want him to be like, what's the shoelace?
Right? Yeah, I know. It's 1300. He lets Henry go. He tells Henry and his men that they can all leave, which comes back later because he has Henry help him later. And then Arthur's about to get his sword out. He wants to fight him, and then the sword gets blown up, and we get the classic boomstick speech.
Yes, although, I guess that's a little movie flub there because he doesn't have the shotgun in his holster.
Yeah, where did the gun come from?
That's okay. I'm willing to go with it.
Who cares? It's great. So now they, I don't know if they like him, but they're kind of afraid of him, I guess. They treat him like the chosen one or whatever. He's eating his grapes. He's got these women around him. Even Sheila comes and she's like, oh, sorry. And he's like, And he blows her off, so. But then another deadite shows up. He kills that one. There's a cool moment. I always like this. Arthur's kind of leaning over because the deadite is lying on the ground. Sorry, what were you going?
No, I was just going to say, that's great. I love it too.
It's a cool moment because you can see her eyes open, and then Ash, because he knows what's going on. He grabs his hand. He says, "It's a trick. Get an axe." And then the deadite comes and he shoots it. Ash knows a lot of moves now. I don't know if this is something that he picked up somewhere along the way. So anyway, basically he has to get the Necronomicon, which will send him back, and also they need it to stave off the deadites. So it's win-win, as we like to say.
Yes.
I did see a little behind the scenes on this particular scene, which they may have shot this, after the movie was done or something. This is supposed to be in a very big, almost like the Parthenon. and that when the witch comes in, she's knocking the pylons down and stuff. But they just shot it in this little scene. That the Red Letter guys mentioned that. But yeah, there's like some artwork that they showed. They had the drawings, and they just couldn't. And then the miniatures and the matte paintings and everything, but they just couldn't work it out, so they just shot it this way. But whatever, it doesn't matter. You're just in a room in a castle, and it comes in there.
Right.
Who cares?
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it
wouldn't
looks
have
a
made
little
it
like
any
a
better.
school play, the set, but it's
Yeah,
all
it
right.
wouldn't have made it any different, right? Really?
No,
it's just-
right. It doesn't make the story any better, and they would have had to spend like thousands and thousands of dollars or whatever. So he has the cool bald blacksmith guy help him make a hand out of whatever.
He says that one points to a thing of the
Yeah.
only hanging bit of armor there. He's like, that one.
Yeah, that one. Like there was a whole like choice, a whole room
little
full of-
montage.
Yeah, it's another sort of Sam Raimi staple, I think. It's like, and then he brushes the little glass thing, and he says groovy. I think it's just so they didn't have to have him have like one hand wrapped up the whole movie.
Yeah.
But also, I think, it's not, no one ever really talks about this, but it's like he has a trash compactor scene, and, he's got his Jedi hand now.
Oh,
you
you're
know?
doing a little Luke.
Yeah,
Luke
forget it.
Skywalker.
This movie is just a ripoff of the Star Wars.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. It's exactly like Star Wars.
That part where Ash flies the X-wing fighter into the Deadites.
Yeah, Star. The dead.
Just
Just like shooting Deadites back home.
So Sheila comes. She made him a blanket, or he's like, I could use a horse blanket. There's tension. She's being nice. He's being a dick, and then we get the give me some sugar, baby, and they bang.
Yeah, there was the original and the other cut. They actually show this part.
Yeah, they showed some
Hello.
nudity.
Mm.
Obviously, you're going to be rated R though if you had, but I guess that wasn't the theatrical release. But I mean, that would have been,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So hey,
Little
whatever,
sexiness.
they banged. Yeah. So
Height of their horniness.
they the next morning they go to the cemetery. Yeah, height of their horniness. The wise man is like, okay, go along here, go to the cemetery, and we get the words. You have to say the sacred words when you take the Necronomicon. And as
Who
we
is
all,
that guy? He looks so familiar, like he's in every
it's
movie
Mr.
ever.
Pitt. It's
Yeah.
Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld.
Okay. I'm not as big of a
All right.
Seinfeld head as
Yeah,
you.
that's quite all right. So the words Klaatu, Verata, and Niktu are from the day the earth stood still, of course.
That's correct.
And if you want another Star Wars parallel, I think they were all Jabba guards. Right?
Yes,
From
they also. Yeah.
Klaatu was like the guy with the
Directed
green
by-
face.
Directed by Robert Wise. Listen to our
Star Trek: The Motion
Star Trek
Picture
The Motion-
podcast.
TMP episode. TMP is what I like to call it. So
I guess
Some
is
cartoons.
it is it Barata? I think it's Barata.
I think it's with a B.
Oh, it is.
I
Okay.
thought I'll check.
I've heard both, I guess, but I don't know which one is. But yeah, the character, I think it is Barata, but I mean, whatever. But yeah, there are 3 Star Wars characters also called Klaatu.
According to
Right, and
Wikipedia, it is with a B. Klaatu.
All right.
Nikto.
So very cool. Anyway, fun little thing there. He's riding his horse. We get what John always called the Evil Dead cam chasing
Oh,
him.
yeah.
That's what I called it. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I always call it.
I
Maybe
actually had an interesting
maybe.
thought last night that I asked Stacy about. I was like, is that actually his hands coming after him? But no, it's just like the spirit of the Evil Dead, right? It's like the cam.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
like more
Yeah.
like it's more of like a force that
And
you sense
yeah.
rather than see.
Use
And
the
Until the end of
Force.
Evil Dead 2, where it comes through the door
Right.
and it looks like a big rubbery face.
Yeah, I know. It's better not being seen. But in like the original Evil Dead, I remember reading a book about the making of that. They put the camera on like a wheelchair and just like push the wheelchair through the
Sped
woods.
up the film a little, yeah. That's
It
a
was- I
classic
mean-
Thirst in the Firestarter move right there.
Oh,
Yeah, if we had a wheelchair. But yeah, I mean, we used the Evil Dead cam a couple times probably in our movie, but I don't know. That's what we always call it. He runs into this windmill. The force sort of pounds on the door and then just stops, which is good. But I love Ash. It's like and then he it just stops. And he kind of like looks around like.
Yeah, that was weird.
So he sees there's a mirror, I guess, in there.
He just kind of runs into it.
Well, his reflection kind of makes like a face at him, and he smashes it, with his metal hand, and he breaks it. And so he looks down, and there's all these, his reflection in all little pieces, and those become the little ashes, and they all come out. They
pop out of the mirrors.
Yeah,
the mirror shards. It's such a weird scene.
And so,
it is.
Cinematography wise, like, cool. Like, it's like when you saw that for the first time, you're like, oh wow, that's awesome. Those little guys popped out of the mirror.
I mean, it is good.
They pull it off pretty well for having like a not a large budget. And
I would say that a blanket statement for the whole movie.
Yeah, if you watch it, you can definitely tell the other guys are not Bruce Campbell.
Right. Obviously,
that's all right.
Yeah. But I mean, like his voice is all squeaky because he's little. It's funny. It's funny. They like
and imitated many, many times, like
right,
all over the place. Simpsons and Rick and Morty and everything.
Yeah, yeah. I love. He throws a fork at one of them and stabs him. I don't know. There was
his head falls on the stove, and he has to like pry off his face.
Yeah, with a little shovel thing. It's very Three Stooges. It's because I guess Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and his
they used to make films like their Super 8 videos were all like
there's and the fire starters. It was like all
it was all Three Stooges stuff. So anyway, he falls. He slips on some grease, and he hits his head. He's knocked out.
In the other version, they drop a bucket on his head of grease, and that's where it comes. So
here he just
a lot of stuff cut out on this part.
Right, doesn't make sense, but who cares? But he wakes up and he's all tied up, and I love the camera does this sort of spin thing above him to reveal like that he's tied up. It's something like, I mean, I know like. I don't know. You don't see this shit in movies. Even Sam Raimi movies, I feel like don't.
Yeah, I sort of feel that like he was much more clever when he didn't have a budget.
Yeah, like when you had to be clever. So, anyways,
it's like Lilliput, like he's tied down.
Yeah, right. And they close his nose, and one of the little ashes dives into his mouth. Which doesn't look great again, but it's still funny, whatever.
It looks exactly as great as it should.
I guess you're right. If it looked better, you'd think it was too fake or something. He tries to like get rid of him by drinking hot water or whatever, but it eventually the little ash grows into a big ash, and they
starts. Yeah. I can't remember what the eyeball thing is from. That's a reference to something else too. But
oh really? Oh okay. I didn't know that. It's kind of weird. I always thought that was kind of gross looking.
It makes a really weird noise. It sounds sort of like muffled, and it also sounds like a fly buzzing at the same time.
I guess knowing that it's a reference to something makes a little more sense, because I was like, that's just kind of weird. I don't know. But yeah, he has like a second head at one point, and like they do more Stooges stuff where he pokes him in the eyes and he's slapping him with the metal hand, even though it just sounds like a regular hand. But who cares? So yeah, Bad Ash comes out, and there's two ashes, and this is a scene I just always, it's just one of my favorite scenes of all time, where Bad Ash keeps like punching him and everything, and he's like, you're a goody little two shoes, goody little two shoes. And then again, the gun comes out of nowhere. I don't know where he had the gun. But he points it right up his nose and blows him away.
Shoots him into a tree that wobbles after he hits it.
Yeah.
It's a little Ed
Like
Wood.
almost like I was gonna say like Universal Horror like set or Ed Wood definitely. And I'm a little sorry and ashamed to say this. I had to look it up and ask Stacy, and Stacy knew the right answer. I was like, when Bad Ash has the full monster makeup, like I was like, is that Bruce Campbell? I think in my mind I just thought it was somebody else. I really don't know why I thought that, but like it was a different monster. But Bruce Campbell did play Bad Ash.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like the voice is different. I guess he's
And
doing a good
really
job.
Covered in makeup.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot.
Right. Yeah. So I love it. He says, in this version, he says, "Good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun," which is a good line. But I always kind of like in one of the other versions, he says, "I ain't that good." I thought that was kind of a good line too.
Yeah.
Kind of wish they kept that one.
Does
Whatever.
he say that after he says good, bad?
After
I'm the guy
he
with the gun?
closes.
Yeah, it's the same thing like later on in the movie where he's like where all the Deadites are storming the castle. There was a different version. I don't remember what he says in this. He's like, "I need more men," or "I'm a Chinese jet pilot," or something.
Something about Chinese jet pilot. Yeah.
There were a couple different versions of him saying stuff like that. I also wanted to talk just real quick about the scenes here where they're in front of the windmill and stuff, and they're using a process called introvision, which is a front projection kind of thing.
Okay.
Which I was saying to Mrs. Elder is like, how does this movie's like rear screen or front screen projection look better than all the Bond movies that had actual budgets? I don't understand why those look so crappy, and this looks passable. They used it also famously for the scene in The Fugitive where Harrison Ford jumps off of the bus or whatever and the train smashes into it. That was also...
Yeah, I think I remember that. I guess, I don't know. Just with Sam Raimi just like trying his damnedest to make it look good, or I don't know. You're right. It does look pretty good.
It looks fine. I mean, it's I think it would probably look better if they did it now, but it's good enough for what they're doing then.
Good enough for government work.
Exactly.
So this is another. I feel like this is a Sam Raimi kind of. He chains Bad Ash down to like a table or whatever. Each chain is like another shot. It's like they're sort of putting the windmill spinning. Like it's like sort of like
fades to black.
It's
cool.
It's pretty cool. Like it is really cool. And then the chainsaw comes out and he cuts him up into little pieces. I love it. He throws him into the thing. Bad Ash's head talks to him, and he says, "You'll never get the Necronomicon." And, "What's that on your face?" And he just throws dirt on him. I don't know. It cracks me up.
It's one of the best lines.
Yeah. And then he has a cross and everything. It's nice,
He
nice
shows a little respect for the dead.
Yeah. Sure, it's him in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes to get his Necronomicon, and one of the more famous scenes, I suppose, if you're a fan, is there are 3 books. And again, a very cool shot. I'm going to say that over and over, but like, and then the camera spins out, basically, pulls out to see
from above.
Ash. Yeah, like from above. And Ash is sort of standing there rubbing his head. He's like, 3 books. It's classic. So good. So the first book like sucks him in like, and he's kind of, he jumps out. He's got this sort of elongated chin, which I definitely sympathize with.
You can relate to it.
Yeah. And Mr. Fantastic arms.
Yeah, it stretches him all out.
Yeah, because he opens the book in this giant vortex form.
Yeah,
sucking him in.
The second one first he's like, he doesn't know which one. He goes for one. He's like, "Nah, you're trying to fool me. It's this one." He goes for like the lower one, and it bites him. It's
which like apparently in the new Evil Dead movies, or at least this one that came out this year, as of this recording, it's 2023. It's I don't remember who the filmmaker was on this, but he was sort of hinting at that Necronomicon looks different than the 2013 version because it's each one of these books.
Oh, I see. They're all the Necronomicon.
Oh.
Yeah.
This one, like, it's making all these kind of funny noises. It's like, it's kind of goofy. But he just throws it.
Cat.
Yeah. He just throws it and it just lands. And so, whatever. So he's about to take
the eye growing out of his shoulder was a an homage to the Japanese-American B horror film Manster from 1959.
Manster.
I
love that name.
know of that movie too, but I've never seen it.
Wow. I'm
Trying
I'll
to see
check
who's
that
in
one
it.
out.
There's no one I know in it, but
well.
No,
think
none
I
of your
actually
dads are in it.
no, none of my dads are. I think I have it. I think that Mrs. Elder bought it for me when she was like at a store that had like buy 18 DVDs for 3 cents, and picked up a bunch of crappy movies for us for bad movie nights.
Nice.
Sorry to derail.
That's all right. That's good. Good knowledge drop. All right, so it's obviously the third book, and as he's about to pick it up, he forgets the word. Does Klaatu, Barada, and he doesn't remember, and he's like nickel, necktie, neckturn, and whatever, and he does a Costanza, another Seinfeld reference, I guess, because he just goes Klaatu, Barada.
If only he had watched The Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's right. He takes the book, and all of a sudden, everything is it's like an earthquake, and there's lightning, and the dead are rising, and there's lightning back at the castle too, where Arthur and the wise men are, and everything. It's almost like Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indiana Jones takes the idol, I guess, or something. But he's running, he gets tripped by these skeletons that are coming out of the ground, and we get more Three Stooges beatery here, I guess, because they all start whacking them and slapping them.
They do the whole like gag of poking in the eye and the sound effects and all that stuff. I want to say something real quick about Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. Apparently, I'm like looking at this on IMDb. There's a slight variation where he pronounces the second word as Varata. Apparently, this is intentional, as the wise man is also heard saying the words this way when instructing Ash on what to do to retrieve the nectar. Nectar.
Nickel.
So
all right. So
definitely
Ash was
an
only definitely. So we also get lightning striking the grave of Bad Ash, and he gets reassembled, and it goes woo, which is so weird to me. Yeah, it's like woo or something, and he says, "I live again." So Ash gets on his horse, rides back to the castle with the book, not caring about anything that has just happened. He just says, "Oh, send me back. I'm through being their garbage boy." As he gets back to the castle, we get the F-bomb, which is really funny. I mean, you know, you're allowed one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie, as we know from everything. But yeah, the guy, they're all happy to see him, and he says, "Get the fuck out of my face." So,
so good.
So it was a great, because it's just, you're not expecting it, really, you know. But so he tells the wise men that he didn't say the words right, and they're like, "Well, now they're all gonna come. Thanks a lot."
Good job.
But Ash doesn't care. He's like, "I got your damn book. You send me back." And Arthur's like, "Fine. We're men of our word. We will honor our bargain." But they're all like, "You coward." And Sheila comes up, and she's like, "Oh, you know, I thought you were, you know, I thought we had something. You know, what about the sweet words that we shared?"
He's like, "That's just locker room talk."
He does say it is pillow talk, which I always thought was you know, it's not very PC maybe, but it's a funny line. You know, it's just pillow talk, baby. Don't mean nothing. And then a Deadeye flies down and kidnaps her, takes her to Bad Ash, who is digging up all these dead soldiers. So yeah, meanwhile, like, good Ash is all right. There's like that good guy that says, "I'm afraid.
I just want to die."
Yeah, like, I think that's Ted Raimi.
It is. I think Ted Raimi plays multiple characters in this.
Yeah, he plays like.
He's got that really bad wig and beard in that one
part.
Yeah.
So you can count on my steel. Yeah, anyway, good Ash is like, now he's convinced. Like, now he wants to fight. Stay and fight. So, and he says, "We'll get Henry the Red to fight with us." And yeah, he's like, "Who's with me?" And then they all start to. And one of them is Ted Raimi. Yeah. But meanwhile, Bad Ash. He's digging up an army. Says, "I shall command every worm-infested son of a bitch whoever died in battle." And if he hits that guy.
I love the Ray Harryhausen skeletons in this movie.
Oh, me too. I was gonna mention that as well.
I love all the dopey stop motion. Yeah.
Because it's obviously a tribute. It's meant to be that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's meant to look exactly like that. And then we're watching it, and Dropkick Murphys have like a famous shirt that they've been selling it for 25 years. That's a bagpiper. And in the movie, the skeleton is like playing like a bone flute, and I was just like, is this a Dropkick Murphys video? Because I was like, they definitely. I was like, I didn't exactly think that they were referencing that, but now I definitely know that they are.
I remember our friend Brom also said something about how does that skeleton play the flute if he doesn't have any lungs, and we were sort of like, how is he walking and staying together? He doesn't have any skin or organs or muscles or anything.
How does he see?
Yeah, don't think too much about it. It's okay.
And if you think like something about skeletons when they're walking around like that too, like because they don't have any muscle mass, like I get it, like a CGI skeleton, you would make it like, you would make their mouth like move when they talked, like in more of a expressive way. You could like lift up an eyebrow or something, but like anytime you just have a skeleton and he's doing anything, it just looks like all they can do is like open and close the mouth. It looks silly, and I say it looks silly in exactly the right way.
It's awesome.
I think even Sam Raimi in some behind the scenes video I've seen when they're showing him some of these skeletons, I think he says something along the lines of like, it looks really good in a crappy kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to make it look real. I mean, these are stop animated, most of them. Some of them are people in suits, I guess, but most are stop animation skeletons and stuff, and they look funny. They look great.
I have to pop up video just because I really need to call this out, just like John did about the Japanese movie that the Eye was based on. This was released in Japan as Captain Supermarket.
Yeah, I did see that.
That's the bootleg version I bought, was the Japanese one.
Captain Supermarket? Nice.
Yeah. And they had him hit him like with his like reaching up to the sky kind of look with the gun and chainsaw or something like that.
And like the blue smock, right? Whatever.
Yeah. I believe so.
Did people think that Evil Dead wasn't a popular enough thing?
I thought that was Universal that made them change it, because they didn't want another sequel or something, like just so they kind of don't treat it as a sequel in a way.
Right. It kind of stands on its own.
Yeah.
All right. So Sheila and Badash. I like even Badash gives her the "give me some sugar" line. Does he kind of forces himself upon her? It's a little uncomfortable, I suppose, in 2023.
And the nude ladies there too, the slave ladies.
Yeah.
And in the original version, he rips her top off.
Right. It's a little more risque.
A little more Hammer Films.
A little more
Yes.
Hammer Films. But the end result is that she sort of becomes Bad Sheila to go along with Bad Ash. She says, "I may be bad, but I feel good." She looks very Bride of Frankenstein.
Sight for sore bones.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Her hair blows. Her hair changes a lot in this movie, but that one, it's like, I think it's kind of a Bride of Frankenstein thing. Maybe that's just me. So we get a nice montage of Ash preparing the English guys, teaching them how to fight, and he brings the Oldsmobile out. He basically creates the death coaster. He makes gunpowder from a chemistry
so much
book
cool
that he
stuff
had
in the trunk of his. Here,
He just has a book, Chemistry 101.
Okay, so I have the picture like paused. He's got this Dark Horse Presents comic that I actually had this comic. I still have it.
Yeah. I had a great Army of Darkness comic that like John Bolton did all like the paintings for.
Oh man.
This was like I think this was like Frank Miller's first.
Yeah, it's like Frank Miller Dark Horse
I was just
Presents.
sorry. I was just thinking of of the Great Dark Horse Army of Darkness.
Yeah, and he's
I
got a
see,
Fangoria
yes.
magazine in there. He's got a 2-liter classic Coke, a gasoline can, like a hand saw, a toolbox, something about steam-powered engines, and something about chemistry 101 are
Yeah,
all
he's
the
got
things. He's got a bunch of shit in his trunk.
I think a lot of that was stuff that Sam Raimi actually had in his trunk, apparently. I don't know how true that is. I heard that somewhere or read that somewhere, but
And I think he put
Yeah.
the Fangoria in there because he mentions to them later that they really supported Evil Dead and got his career started in a way. So he's just kind of like a shout out to Fangoria.
that's great. So the Deadites approach. There's a cool shot again of the moon. I don't know if it's the same intro vision that they used earlier, but it's pretty cool as Ash looks out from the tower. All the skeletons are coming. Ash has got his guys up with these arrows that have little gunpowder bags on them. Yeah. And like
also,
they do this.
Go ahead.
Yes. No, I was just gonna say the tension builds because they light the fuses, and they're all kind of like. Anyway,
what I was gonna say was
Yeah.
the I saw a cartoon about this the other day, but I also think about it when about any time travel stuff. It's like if I went back in time, what could I tell them I know how to do? You know what I mean? He has a
Right.
he answered it because he has a chemistry 101 book in his car. But I would like if somebody had like a little 1-panel cartoon about it. It's like I know how to follow people on Twitter. They're like, "Will you show us how to make electricity?" It's like I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know what electricity is or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to be very helpful. You know. Because I don't know how stuff works like that.
I remember watching like Castaway, like with Tom Hanks, being like, man, if I was stranded on an island by myself, I wouldn't be able to do shit. I mean, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, right,
Like,
right.
I would be dead. I would be dead in a couple of days. Anyway, yeah. So I love it. Like Ash, he's making him wait and hold on to the arrows for as long as they can, and like it's like the tension builds, and then when he finally says like yeah, whatever, and they launch the arrows and they blow up, and all the skeletons. I love the guy that gets stuck and goes like oh, and then just blows up. And then they have catapults with the same kind of thing, big bombs basically on them. That factors in later as well. They break through the door. All the skeletons break through the door, and then they do their techniques. Their hoo ha hi ha.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but they're starting to lose, and then Ash brings out the Death Coaster, which is the Oldsmobile actually getting used as like
A
part of
weapon. A woman.
Yeah.
A woman. It's
Yeah,
a good thing he had that steam engine book in his thing.
Yeah,
I also like the fact that one of the skeletons is like, it's the one in the car we want. I was like,
Yeah.
you've never seen a car before. How do you know?
But he's also like that.
How are
That's
you
like
speaking?
one of the skeletons like has
How are you
has like a Dropkick Murphy's like beard and stuff. They're so funny.
Yeah,
funny.
well. So he's driving around. He's got like this big. It's like a helicopter thing on the front.
It's like they took the windmill and stuck it on the top of his
Yeah,
car.
I guess they did. He's cutting everybody up, and then he sees Good Sheila, like a vision of Good Sheila in front of him. He swerves and crashes the car. And then she tries to stab him, and he sort of vaults her over into the pit, or kicks her over, whatever he does.
Yeah, well, he stabs her. She charges at him. He's got a spear, and he just throws her off the edge.
So then Henry shows up. Yeah,
All
so
right.
that's cool. Yeah, the cavalry is here. But so he's about to go get Badass, and Sheila comes
Paying it
back. And
forward.
then that's when he throws her off
Oh,
the
that's
balcony.
when he does it. Yeah, sorry. I'm lost.
Because he says, honey, you got real ugly. Just like
Yes.
mean thing to say, but whatever. And then so Badass and Good Ash have like their duel, sort of lightsaber duel, I guess, if you want to bring it back to Star Wars.
I do.
No, very well. And
I do
Ash,
believe Bruce Campbell had to learn how to ride a horse for this movie and took fencing lessons. If I'm not, I'm
Wow.
going on memories of things that I read back in like 1993 because I just dove right into anything I could get.
Oh, I'm sure those are muscle memories you got there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and they do that.
I was like,
for...
maybe someday this will be useful for something.
Right. In 30 years, I'll do a podcast on this movie.
Yeah, like I mean, that is like kind of a common thing. Well, if you want the main actor, not a stuntman to be
Right.
on a horse,
Yeah.
like on Yellowstone, they send them to like a ranch for 6 weeks, and they make them learn how to ride a horse and do all the things.
I mean, I think a lot of actors have to learn how to ride a horse, at least like semi competently.
Yeah,
This
is the only movie also Bruce Campbell. It's the only studio film that first and last movie that Bruce Campbell has starred in that's a major studio release. So
wow.
Oh, really?
How about that?
Indie guy.
Yeah.
As the lead,
he appeared. Right. He
he was in
starring.
Congo for 3 seconds. Yeah. So
And he was,
Yeah,
he was. I think he like kind of was pissed because he had to wait around a whole year for the damn thing to come out. It's like, I wasted my life.
I'm sure he did other things. I
Studio
mean, he has a
politics.
lot of work. He's been in a lot of movies. I think it's like we've seen a couple of Q&As with Bruce Campbell.
yes, we have.
And
What cool one
there's
that
always
Josh did the artwork for, poster and everything.
That's right. That was an Evil Dead screening. Like he had like book signings and stuff where we went and saw, he did Q&As and stuff. But the question is always kind of like, why aren't you in more stuff? I think was always kind of like a common question, like. And I remember someone asked him about. They were like, I heard you had a part in Spider-Man, like the first Spider-Man. He's like, I do have a part in Spider-Man. I have the most important part in Spider-Man. I'm the guy who named him Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
I think Bruce Campbell is pretty fine with his lot in life.
Yeah.
I don't think he.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's doing okay.
Yeah. I don't think he wanted to be like Tom Cruise or anything. I think he was happy working at all. I remember talking.
Right.
Sorry.
It's
Go ahead.
unfortunate that Briscoe County Jr. never really took off because that was an
That's true.
enjoyable show. It was,
That's true.
As I recall. I mean, I haven't seen it.
I can't tell you
No,
that
I
I've
don't
ever
know.
seen it at all. I don't think I have.
It was good. They had something called the Orb, which I think that's probably where we got the idea for Darcy the Firestar.
Nice. I didn't know that. But I think it was like a thing where like it was on. Was it on before the X-Files? I think it was like.
Yeah.
And they thought like, well, all right, well, we'll throw this dumb alien show on, but this Bruce Campbell show is gonna be, and it was the other way around. The X-Files became the popular show. And
But I would watch the show again. I'll have to see if it's any place, if it's available any place.
Yeah, I don't know if it holds up or not.
Because it was kind of like it was like a show that it was a Western that had some sci-fi elements and comedic elements. They just didn't push it as far as they do in like this movie with the comedy and stuff, but it was still amusing.
Yeah, I remember, in fact, when someone asked him about Congo at one of those Q&As, and he said, well, I'll tell you what, they sent me to Africa for one day of shooting, but they sent me there for like a week in case they needed more shots or whatever. And I got to surf, and I got paid to just sit around and like hang out. Yeah, like it was basically a paid vacation. So.
If you're doing small parts in a bunch of movies, you're probably still doing okay for money.
Yeah. Even if you're making like SAG minimum or whatever, but yeah. All right. So, anyways, Good Ash gets like a torch and he burns Bad Ash's face, and I guess that's kind of the end of Bruce Campbell playing both parts. Well, I guess he still has the voice, but he knocks the torch out of his hand, and it lands down near one of the catapults and sort of lights the wick. Meanwhile, Bad Ash skeleton now kicks Ash off the balcony, and he lands right near that catapult with the burning wick. Bad Ash gets the book, jumps down onto the catapult. He's being all like high.
He's gloating.
Yeah, he's kind of got that Ash, arrogance to him, I guess. And Good Ash picks up a little sword thing that they used to cut the rope on the catapult, cuts off his hand, catches the book, cuts the rope, the catapult launches, Fat Ash.
They do a very Three Stooges like whoa.
Yeah, where his head kind
Yeah.
of.
And it makes that like
The train
the
whistle.
Flintstones leaving work.
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
Yabba dabba doo! And yeah, for some reason, I guess physics, whatever. He's still sitting on the thing.
It's all right.
No, it spins around and blows up. It blows Ash back to hell. And then it's like, victory is ours! I guess with the leader
Let's get the
gone.
hell out of here.
Yeah, that skeleton always cracked me up too. We look back, Sheila's okay now because all the Deadites are gone, I guess, or whatever, but she's back to normal. She's not ugly anymore. So here's again, this is where the two movies diverge, I guess. Well, the wise man gives him this potion. He says, drink 3 drops, say the words, and you'll wake up in your own time. And then in the theatrical version, they just cut to S-Mart. Ash is there talking to Ted Raimi. Ted Raimi is really bored. He says,
no one is even questioning the fact that he's got this like metal hand.
Or like scars on his face. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then it's also like, yeah, right, dude, you're full of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I
those
guess.
people
Did you say the
you ever
words
have
right
somebody
this
at
time?
work that's like that too, or just like this guy fucking
Oh,
comes
yeah.
in and tells these crazy fucking stories. Like, I wish you would shut the fuck up. Shut
I know,
up.
you're right. We all have an Ash, in our work. But yeah, Ted Raimi's great. He says, did you say the words right this time? This cracks me up. And he says, well, maybe I didn't see every tiny little syllable, but basically I said them. And so we get another Seinfeld actress. This woman appeared on Seinfeld once as the maid that Jerry was sleeping with. And so it was kind of like prostitution because he's still paying her to clean the house. He was like also sleeping with her. So anyways, this girl, she says, oh, I think that story's kind of cute. And they're about to like, have something going on. And then
and then a dead-eyed Karen shows up.
a dead-eyed Karen.
Yeah, totally.
I had to
She's
say
just
that
speak
before
with
I
the
forgot. I
manager.
was like, I made the joke last night, and Mrs. Elder was like, "Oh, you got to say that on the podcast." So that's why I hopped
that's a
in
good
before
one.
you could say it. Thank you.
That's a good one. I like it. I'm glad I was there. So he gets a gun, I guess, out of the sporting goods department, which is where he said the gun was from.
Which is
And he blows it away after some kicking and flying around and everything.
I enjoy this scene more than the original scene where he ends up in the post-apocalyptic future.
Yeah, we'll get
This is
there.
fun. This is
Yeah,
fun.
okay.
You know what I mean? It's good to give him a happy ending because he's such a fucking screw up and everything. So
I think
I was just really glad that it ends on.
He really
on this.
does get to be the hero of this, like all of the because
he's wearing that.
they also get to show like, no, I wasn't bullshitting. This really happened to me.
yeah, that's true. But he grabs the girl. He says, I could have been king and whatever. But he says, my own way, I am king. And he kisses her, and we get the.
It says, "Hail to the king, baby."
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're right. He says, "Hail to the king, baby." Gives her a big kiss, and then
Because
we're out.
think of how funny that is. Because his inner monologue is saying that he's like, "In my own way, I am king," but no one else is hearing that. So he just says, "Hail to the king," and then makes out with her.
right.
Like,
That's the
this guy.
second sentence. The first one was in his head. You're absolutely right.
He's got some game, this guy. Yeah. Well, he
Okay, so
did
now-
say to Ted Raimi. Sorry, he did say like I could have been king. Like
but he's
they
not
offered me a
making
chance.
He's not making out with Ted Raimi.
Well, not that we saw. I mean, movie cut before the.
But now
right,
let's talk about that alternate ending. Which
All right, let's
just
talk
seems
about it. You just saw it today.
Which
Yeah.
I actually have to reference, and not that maybe even Sam Raimi never even saw Zardoz, but it was very similar to the end of Zardoz.
Sure,
Remember
Sam
when
Raimi saw Zardoz.
Sam Raimi saw
The
Zardoz?
Zardoz episode.
Yeah, go back
but-
and listen to that one.
But you remember, like at the very end when they they're basically like in a cave and decompose.
Yes,
You know what I mean? I was like, wow. I was like, this is like Zardoz.
It kind of was. I guess you're right. Yeah. So in the alternate ending, I guess the original ending, I guess we should call it, right?
And they called it that's in the international cut. I don't know if that means that when it was internationally, that's how they showed it in Europe in 1993. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. So they push the death coaster into a cave. They blow up. So like it's almost like Back to the Future 3 or something.
Oh yeah.
Like they seal the cave.
Listen to our Back to the Future episodes.
Yeah. He's supposed to take 3 drops. He takes 2, and then there's some, like, the rubble kind of settles, and he takes 2 more.
Yeah, it distracts him, so
He loses count. He can't even count to 3.
Was it 3 or was it 5?
I don't know. Maybe
I think
you're
it's
right.
6. I didn't want to say anything earlier.
All right. Maybe you're right.
I'm not a pedant because he gets to like 5, and then he was like, "Oh, I have to recount it or whatever."
All right. That makes more sense. I haven't seen this one.
Here's another funny thing. Before Mrs. Elder knew we were doing this, we have this medicine we have to put in the cat's food, so we have to use the dropper. And I said, "Well, I can't." And she did the scene. It was I was like, wow,
nice.
I can't even, like, that's not even the version we watch that often. So
hold on to that one. Tell you.
Yeah. Another 21 years.
And then some.
Yeah, I guess.
Thanks for talking.
I guess you're right. I don't know why I thought it was 3 things, but anyways, he wakes up. He's got this huge beard. He climbs out of the cave.
The beard is awful. I like really, for some reason, I don't blame Army of Darkness for having a bad fake beard. Cool. But Sam Jackson in a new Marvel movie with a fake beard that looks awful is like, come on now, you guys. Come on.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think
one thing
who cares?
I just wanted to say is that I had the script for this version of the movie at one point, and Ash was supposed to be completely naked. Here he was. His clothes had disintegrated at this point. So
yeah, he has the spider webs all over him. And stuff.
That'd be the worst part for me.
Well, it's more cobwebs. You know what I mean? Not like spider webs, or maybe.
Where do you think cobwebs come from?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, John. You're right, Thurston. They come out of the sky. The clouds come down and they condense. It's like cotton candy.
I thought it was Thai cob. Would just sit there and leave webs on you.
Cobb salad.
Good to hear. Good to hear you. Thanks for talking. Thanks for talking, guys. All right. So, anyways, he climbs out of the cave and he sees like Big Ben is all like destroyed or whatever, right? Is it Big Ben?
Yeah, it's like like Planet of the Apes style.
Yeah. And he goes, I slept too long because the world has been destroyed.
And he's got like a crazy laugh.
Yeah.
Over the credits. I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't see this one first. I would have been like, oh, that's a bummer to go out on.
Well, I guess like if you're not going to definitely do another one, right? If you're not going to continue this story, or I mean, I'm sure they filmed it thinking, well, do another one. But maybe the studio was like, you're not going to do another one. This movie doesn't, nobody's going to see this movie.
I had a whole plan for the next one. If Sam Raimi needed an idea. And they went with this ending. It would be, since he's in the future, they would end up fighting Deadite like Terminator type things.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, Deadite, like the Deadites, because he misspoke the words or whatever. Like the Deadites have destroyed the Earth. It's not like nuclear war or anything. So, yeah, you would have to. That would be good. Terminator, Deadites.
Yeah, let's do it as let's pitch it to whoever has the comic book rights.
I don't know.
Dynamite
we'll just buy them. Maybe.
Well, we'll just do our own, and we'll just not call them
I actually, you want to talk about that for a second? I know a little bit about that because when I was reviewing a lot of comics, I would get from different companies Ash comics and then Army of Darkness comics that were not related. So there was like a whole series of like basically Evil Dead comics from one publisher, and then another publisher publishing Army of Darkness comics, and they were like they're like different creative teams and everything. And I just looked up this DHP Dark Horse Presents comic that was in the back of Sam Raimi's car there. It's the DHP Dark Horse Presents 5th anniversary special that has like Gimme Liberty, Concrete, Aliens, American. It doesn't have any. It has a Sin City. I think it might be like the first Sin City appearance or something. And I have this book. So.
Wow.
But Dark Horse 5th anniversary special, and this one's signed by Frank Miller is going for $500. So that's the story of Dark Horse Presents 5th anniversary special.
I wonder if Sam Raimi still has it in the trunk. Yeah, I mean, I guess like it works better to send him out on a high note, unless you knew like within a few months, like Back to the Future again, like right, like 2 ended on kind of a downer, but you know, they filmed 3 right away that you knew it was coming. If they didn't know for sure, you know, it's probably better to end it on a happier note.
Well, you could do, but both do kind of like a comic book, leave it open for a sequel, or just it ends here, or you could have him in post-apocalyptic times, unless that means everybody was dead except for him. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I guess the other thing is too, back then, like a lot of franchises were 3, you know. Back then, like there weren't that, unless except like Lethal Weapon, which was 4 and it was terrible, or
Police
you know, whatever.
Academy.
Well, Police Academy, how many did they do? They did like 6.
Yeah, but there's like
they were terrible.
There's only like rare, like when they were just making them, you know, that were almost direct to video. Like,
yeah,
if it did go beyond 3, it was like either pushing it really or just,
I think
you know, a mess.
Star Trek would be the only one that was beyond 3 movies that was still doing well, but at that point you had stuff like Freddy and Jason, and all those movies were terrible.
Yeah, and they were terrible. So I think if you wanted to have a good like, you know, be on the good side of the franchise thing, you want to do 3 and out. So, you know, doing a 4th one in the post-apocalyptic future, it probably wouldn't have worked. Let's face it, you know. So even though they did the series a few years ago, so many years later, this was a good way to end it. I think you're right. This is better. Send him out on a high note.
Yeah, I feel like they just kept trying to make him like Homer Simpson, just kind of stupider and stupider as it went on.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like it didn't work as well. The series was okay. I think we talked about it. We did an episode way back when.
Sure, probably. I did like Lee Majors in it as his father. I thought that was funny. Like, go on.
No, I was saying before the call, like it's. I wanted more Army of Darkness, and we watched the pilot, and if you know you have mixed feelings about the whole series or whatever, but if you're just like, I need more, and you watch the first Ash vs. the Evil Dead, it's really good, and it, you know, it ties in and it makes you feel like at home and makes you feel like an old guy that used to like Army of Darkness a lot when you were younger. You know what I mean? Like, and it's directed by Sam Raimi and written by him, and you know, I think that a lot of times they do that. I don't know the rest of the series or whatever, but they always like get the first one because then they get the residuals like for the whole series if they write and direct the first one. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, no, I'm not mad at it. I'm glad they did it. It was fun to see again, but I don't know.
I haven't
maybe
seen the whole thing, but like watching the first pilot is very good, especially if you're like watch Army of Darkness and you're like, oh, I want a little bit more. Just watch that pilot.
Yeah,
it satisfies you. Snickers.
Yeah, I agree.
I did think it was weird. He's like getting high and reading the Necronomicon. I thought was kind of
yeah, that was weird, but you know.
I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, you know, you got to modernize it a little bit, I guess. But like, I don't know. There was something in like, I forget. It might have been in the 3rd season or whatever. I'm not even sure. But there was some kind of thing. There was a lot of like I know this is gonna make me sound probably not that good. There's a lot of male nudity in like.
Oh,
one of
was that the cadavers or whatever?
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
And it ends up like on his head. or
Yeah,
something.
like there
I
was a
think
lot,
that's
it just,
season 2. Yeah, I
it
remember
wasn't
us
even
talking about it at the time. We were like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then apparently in season 3 they tried to outdo that scene with grossness. So
It's not like it's like ew, gross penis. It just seems kind of lowbrow. You know what I mean? Like it's not like
yeah, it's just like they're squirting diarrhea or something. I can't
yeah,
remember.
like
It's
you can do
gross.
better. You know, you
Yeah.
don't have to do literally dick and fart jokes or dick and shit jokes, dick and diarrhea jokes. But you can be a little more creative than that. All right, don't just try to outgross everyone. But yeah, it's okay. I'm glad they did it. There was clearly some, desire for.
And I guess well I was like asking because like if you, I just asked ChatGPT this stuff because I was like, what is the complicated thing with how I still don't even understand how it relates to Hannibal Lecter, but it does with the rights and Nandor De Laurentiis there, but they somebody else like sort of owns some rights and stuff like that, but even to this day, like it's not exactly sorted out, but Raimi was able to reference Army of Darkness in the later season, like maybe the third season, like they came to some sort of agreement. I'm sure that meant that they got paid some money. Like, hey, we
Right.
want to reference Army of Darkness. They couldn't really do that, and that's why they made their own Evil Dead movie, like the reboot, I guess you'd call it. I haven't seen. Is the second one even out yet, or I don't even know.
I think it came
I
out a
don't
few
know.
months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
I'm
you're
sure
right.
I'll watch it. I mean, we had a good time. I remember like it was kind of like I remember seeing Army of Darkness like the night that I went out and met Stacy's friends who were in a band called the Deadites, and we all went to see Evil Dead together when it was a new movie. I had a good time. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of times it might just be like that, like circumstantial thing where it's like I had a good time at the movies that night, and I remember I had the T-shirt, and the T-shirt was cool because it had the Evil Dead logo, like the one, the Ash versus the Evil Dead, on the front, and then on the back it had like basically like looked like tour dates, but it was like all the dates the movie came out, and I like rocked that T-shirt for like such a long time. And they gave us free because we saw it the first night it came out because these kids were they're Deadites, so they were such a freak for it. So yeah, I'll watch the second one.
Yeah,
I want to be curious.
It's called Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, that's cool. So speaking of that, then let's give our final thoughts here. Do you want me to go first? I'll go first if you want.
Okay,
Sure.
I never go first, and I got something to say.
Yeah,
But,
and then
I think
I took it away from you last time, even though you were like
No, it's-
volunteering. So you go first now.
It's okay, but
You go first.
It's sort of coming off what Clay was just saying. I think the circumstances, right? I mean, yes, this movie has some problems, continuity, and just it's some parts look a little weird now to look at it with a lens of everything is CGI and the way a lot of blue screen, a lot of just like stuff. But basically, what we said, like Sam Raimi did, he used his creativity and his ingenuity and everything to make the movie that he could with the budget that he had. And but circumstances though, like thinking back on those times, ordering pizza, watching Army of Darkness. I mean, it's like what? It's like 88 minutes or something like that. It's not even that.
It's quick.
It's like West Street.
It's like West
So,
Street's
like-
not even that long.
So like when we were 17 or whatever, or oh God,
21.
21. Yeah. That was, you could sit through that and still be like, all right, now what are we going to do? Like it was,
Let's watch it again.
yeah, it was a fun time being like, I can't wait. We got to find that bootleg, the alternate ending and all that stuff. And I remember being excited and watching that like on VHS, probably ordered pizza. I don't know.
Probably
Yeah,
rented
those
it,
were-
right? I mean,
No, it was not. We bought it at a convention. I
Oh.
remember. And I think I probably recorded your copy with my 2 VCRs or whatever, like there's good times. So, I mean, I don't care. I know this movie has some problems. And if you're not a fan, you might be like, this movie stinks, but it's great. And I'm giving it an A. I don't care. It's great.
All right.
All right. So that's it. That's all I got.
Did them all.
That's it in a moment. Who's going next? Who's with me?
I'll go next.
I'll do it.
John wants. Okay, John, go.
Yeah, I'll do. I usually go last, and I never have anything
Yeah.
to say because you guys always say it all, and pretty much Derson has already said it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an A. We were shooting our own movie around the same time. It was very influential. We tried to be clever on no budget. It was a big thing for me for a few years. I did when I was in college, we had this like art book where people contributed stories and this and that and art to it, and I did a very Army of Darkness inspired kind of guy fights a bunch of dead people with a baseball bat or something like that. So yeah,
Where'd you get that idea?
I don't know. Probably not from this movie at all. No one called me out on it,
Not
so I was
at
like,
all.
I'll just keep going with it. So
No, at all.
and that's it. I liked it. A. Whatever or did I already say A? But yes,
Yeah.
A. Two thumbs up.
I'm not
11
doing this.
thumbs up.
I'm not doing this on purpose to really show my my heart out on my sleeve. I love you guys, but I absolutely have to give this an A plus. I give it an A plus because it is.
I only reserve A pluses for Moonraker.
My A plus is this movie is absolutely in my DNA. It reminds me of a different time, a simpler time, but also like how we were all, and I don't mean just you guys, although I certainly do, like just growing up having close friends and like bonding over something so hard that I'm surprised when we started movies, this wasn't the first one we did. And certainly this podcast is going to be an important one for us to put out in my mind, like, way over, thinking anyone has any desire to actually listen to this podcast. But still, for me, like putting the podcast out, talking about it with you guys, watching the movie again, knowing that it's my girlfriend's favorite movie, and like also that she likes Star Wars and Star Trek, and like just being able to have something that I can share with the people that are most important to me is way outshadows everything and gives it that extra A plus. And I think that also in what you were saying, Durson, about like and John, you said something similar too, like the constraints of doing the movie on this budget and the things that aren't great about it, absolutely for me, are how I make art. Like I do what I can with the resources that I have, and I know it's not exactly polished and shiny, but that's what I like about it. Like stuff, if I draw, it like has like it's not like exactly clean. It has like rough edges, and that's like really like that aesthetic sort of appeals to me, and I really love this movie. And after we did a bunch of horror movies over the course of the past like couple years per Halloween, knowing that, he's referencing Three Stooges, he's referencing the Wolfman.
Manster.
He's referencing Manster, but also, like this intro vision and like Wolfman, like silhouettes and like the, like those James Whale like kind of looks to it. Like he's referencing all the stuff that made him want to make movies, much in the same way that like Kevin Smith and Clerks, like those movies they're just like Clerks isn't as important to me as Army of Darkness. Like Army of Darkness is the movie that I think about you, and I think about like when I was dating your sister in North Dakota, like all this stuff.
Yeah,
like it's just super, super important to me. So A plus, that's all I have to say.
All right, very good. Yeah, I think you're right. This kind of is art, like this is filmmaking. And yeah, I was going to film school, and I thought I would make these kinds of movies. Didn't quite work out, but yeah, like it is kind of, even the way we record this podcast. We were just talking about this before we came on. Sometimes we're like, it's good enough, but if you do listen, I hope you agree. But anyway, like,
and all
this
that.
is Sam Raimi.
All you're saying about like too, like if you ever watch some behind the scenes about how they made Evil Dead, how they made Evil Dead 2 and the Harryhausen stuff, and how they made, like I was saying, like it's really unimportant whether that scene with the witch at the beginning, is in the thing where they had the pylons and stuff like that, and they just shot it in the room. Like, who cares? It doesn't really matter because that scene is still so awesome. And they just pulled it off, and they should be proud because that's a lot of work to get all of this shit done, especially the animation or the whatever you call it, stop motion, or however they had those skeletons move around. I don't even know.
Well, I mean, it was all movie magic, and now it's something is lost, right? Like it's goes without saying.
Something's lost. I loved watching Evil Dead. Ash versus Evil Dead on my 4K TV last night, because the last time I watched it, it was on a smaller TV that wasn't like as high resolution. I liked how, he did like this zoom in on the witch, and like, you could see like all the pores in her makeup and stuff like that. But like that's cool to watch. But like looking at like Bad Ash's face,
right?
is really charming. It's very charming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying almost all movies. I don't want to say all movies, but like most, even Sam Raimi, like big budget Sam Raimi movies don't have that quality of like, you kind of feel like you can touch things, like you're just. This is Sam Raimi, I think, at its best, and yeah, I'm so glad we got to do this. Peak Raimi. I'm glad he, had a fine career after, with Spider-Man and Marvel, Doctor Strange and all the movies he's made since. But this is peak Raimi, and I'm glad that we all got to do that. I'm glad we all got to share this again, like we did back in 1993.
Yeah, back 30 years ago.
Should have done a watch along.
Yeah, we probably should have.
Maybe we could still even do one, because I mean, I'll never get sick of watching this movie, just like Stacy, and like it's just. I feel like a lot of our humor like comes from this movie and stuff too,
Yeah, definitely. Like John said, like we, Mrs. Alder quotes it. We quoted. It was definitely a part of our youth. We were living our best lives, and you can't take that away. I think that's it. Remember to check us out. LeaguePodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on the YouTube and leave us a review and like and subscribe and do all those things that people do these days with podcasts.
And this podcast, including all of our other horror movies, are on a landing page that I made, which is LeaguePodcast.com/Halloween. So if you're ramping up for Halloween, you get yourself a commute and you're like, oh, like, what is that weird vampire movie that
what does those
Clay
three
and
jerks
Durson
have
watched?
to say about this dumb thing?
Yeah.
I enjoy sometimes listening to our old Universal Horror podcast.
Yeah,
fun,
they're all there. LeaguePodcast.com/Halloween.
All right, that's good news. I didn't even know that.
You posted a Sam Doors box, or we have many classic audio comics that are Halloween related as well. I should put that. I'll put Sam Doors box on that Halloween page too, because it's literally an audio classic. Thanks to you.
That's right. And
Thanks to you.
I posted the Dracula one too from.
Which was very hilarious.
Frankenstein one we did. We did two of them, but I think the first one was quite good, if I remember. I don't mean to pat myself.
It
on
was
the back,
quite good. You gave yourself
it was quite good, if I do say so myself.
0.5?
Yeah, 8 plus 5. 8.5. I wonder where. I'll have to find that one. All right. Well, we will look for that then, and look for everything. LeaguePodcast.com. And
we are still on Spotify. We urge you to go on Spotify, but that's where Durson will will repost the audios. Those are usually posted as new episodes. So if you're following us,
yeah, that's true. Used to
Yeah.
be easier on Anchor when they would just post it everywhere. I guess we got to fix that. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and happy Halloween! to
Yeah,
all.
you primitive screwheads.
Groovy.